So Izzie, just summarise then what you did before Fresh Air, what your career looked like so far.
So I was a producer for a science show at BBC 5 Live and decided to go freelance after that because I just really wanted to make science content, basically. My journey into science communication was a bit weird because once I graduated from university, I actually went straight into like Six Music, Radio 2. I was like, music radio, that's where I want to be.
That's cool, right?
Yeah, exactly. You come out of university like, that's where, like, no, showbiz, essentially. And as a physics graduate, I sort of really started to miss the challenge of science and talking about it and, you know, I guess testing my brain to an extent and just really trying to do something new with that. And so I sort of started to move away from music and thought, actually, I think science and radio is something that could be really creative and it could be really interesting. And then over time, podcasting became the best medium for that because you can sort of tear up the rule book really and make the shows that you want to do. Whereas if you want to do science broadcasting, sort of Radio 4.
Yeah, it's pretty limited, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like Radio 4, BBC 5 Live, and you don't really see the commercial stations doing too much science content either. But
isn't that the beauty of podcasts? Because it's about niche subjects that you've got a small subsection of the community who are interested in it, but you can go in such depth.
Yeah, completely. And that's what I think is really nice because it doesn't really matter the content or what area of science it is. You can really pull a topic apart and go in depth that, you know, a YouTube video couldn't do because you start with the basics. And this is what I do for any of my podcasts. You start with the basics and as the episode goes on, you bring in a little bit more information, you push your listeners a little bit, but it doesn't have to feel like, you know, you're sitting there with a textbook, which I think is what a lot of people feel about when it comes to science. They have like bad experiences at school and they're like, oh no, science, that's not for me. When actually you can associate that with so many things around us every single day that I think it's quite fun when you sort of tease out those stories. And yeah, podcasting is perfect for that because I also think that you find such a dedicated audience and a listenership and they're kind of like, oh well, if you like this then actually here's something else that you might enjoy. It's just the depth and the creativity of podcasts and science and it works really, really well.
So one of the most exciting projects you work on, and I know you're proudest of, is with WWF, and Call of the Wild is now going into Series 2. That is all about taking science and sustainability to a younger audience, which again, if you look for science content in radio, you're looking very highbrow, you're looking Radio 4. You've managed to combine the grammar of youth radio and music radio in a science environment, haven't you? Yeah,
and when that pitch came through, for me, I had just gone freelance. That was like my dream sort of podcast to make because I think, you know, you can take the creativity of BBC Radio 1, Radio 2 or Capital, all of that, and then just take important science content as well and tie it up together, throw in a few celebrities and you've got a great podcast. And I really think that in terms of that audience, it's a topic in general that they are so engaged in and it's really important. But I think it's also really important to give them the correct information from the experts, leading experts like WWF UK. But
and not talk to them like they're six.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think, you know, people need to give that younger audience more credit, personally, in my opinion. They're really switched on. You can really push the limit. And to be honest, they've probably learned about science more recently than a lot of our other listeners. So, you know, they might have their finger on the switch a bit more than older audiences. But, you know, also bringing in big names, like celebrity names, into that conversation as well is just, it's a really exciting listen. And it's completely combined two things that I'm really passionate about. So I love it.
And the first person we put you in front of was Sir David Attenborough, which was a fairly decent kickoff.
Yeah, I mean, what a way to start a season. I remember when they first mentioned, we might be able to get David Attenborough for episode 1. And I was just sitting in this meeting, probably on Zoom, like, okay, yeah, fine.
That would be all right.
That'll work. And again, that really helped make some noise about the series in itself, but also he just when he speaks, you're just like, yep, tell me about the planet. Okay, we're gonna fix this. Let's go. So it was a really great way to kick off the series.
And we're starting to also do, thankfully, back into location recording. So one of your other projects, Ocean Matters, talking about ocean science. You've done a bit of binaural recording for that. Talk through that.
Yeah, so for anyone that doesn't know, binaural recording is incredible. You just pop in these two headphones, and they've got microphones in the headphones, so it records this sort of 360-degree audio. So we had scientists going off to a really remote little island in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and I mean, they were surrounded, say, by seabirds, for example. So in our seabird episode, you hear this person walking along the beach. You've got the scrunching of the sound, and then, a seabird flies overhead, and it picks up all of that audio and it tells a story, and it really, puts the listener in on that remote island. And that was a new piece of kit for me to use, but it really brought that whole series to life. It was just a shame we couldn't use more of it because obviously COVID came and that sort of halted. Well, we just adapted to what we needed to do, but so fingers crossed for more series and more binaural recording.
And do you think that's, as we open up, as we look to the next 3, 4, 5 years of podcasting, you think science is going to be a big growth area for that?
Yeah, definitely. The beauty of science is that there is always new things developing, new inventions, new ideas. And I think if the last year has told us anything, or, since 2020, that science communication is so important. You need to have people who know the facts, who can communicate them really clearly, but without sending you into a absolute pit of fear, and just conveying key information really clearly and easily so that people can follow along and build on that foundation. Yeah, I can't wait for the next few years.
Izzie, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Fresh.